Today's project is this mid-century modern dresser, and wow, can you believe, I don't even know what all that is. It was in a warehouse, got a lot of damage. That is not patina, that is gross. I don't even know. So man, this needed so much cleaning, and it is all wood. This is a Basset, so it has some potential, but so much damage. As I was working at it, I was thinking, I'm not really sure that this should be saved, but I did save it. So we'll have to see at the end if you think it was worth saving. But like I said, there's the little maker's mark, which always helps because then I know it's a better brand, and that I can maybe make something of it. So the first thing I did is I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to address all of the problems on the bottom. So obviously you saw all of that damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just basically cut it all off. So I'm going to remove that front baseboard first. I'm just going to unscrew it. So as you can see, there's just a lot of damage there on the side. So I'm just decided, because there's a natural break there, I'm just going to cut it all off. I'm going to use my jigsaw to cut it off. So I'm going to put a piece of painter's tape on the line, and that way that'll kind of help make sure that there's no jagged edges when I actually use my jigsaw. I'll use my straight edge, make sure I get a clean line. Then I'm going to use my jigsaw to follow the line that I drew. I'm going to sand the area smooth, and I do have a little area there where the veneer is still popping up. So I'm just going to use some wood glue, and I'm going to tape that down and allow that to dry. So now I have to kind of rebuild the base. You'll see later what I did, but this is the first portion of it. So I'm just going to have I have a 1x3 here, and I'm just going to cut it for the width of the front and the back, and I'm just going to adhere it to the base. I'm going to drill some pilot holes, and then I'm going to use some screws to adhere it to the base of the dresser. I was doing good until I got to this corner, and as you can see, it was not catching anything. So I had to go underneath the dresser and find out what was going on, and come to find out underneath, it had come loose as well. So I had to go inside the dresser, screw it in, and then I was able to attach that wood piece to the wood. Okay, so here is the area I have cut off, and then I have, this is uneven from this side to this side. So what I've had to do is I've had to attach a 1x3 to this area and then shim it up so that it's level, because I needed to make sure that it was level from the top to the bottom so that it's not, you know, wobbling, and then that would also match this side. So because I have the 1x3 here, it obviously creates an open area here. Does that make sense? This is upside down. Let me turn this around. So when you look at it, you'd see the 1x3. So I'm going to cover all this up with some trim. So since this is going to be seen, I'm going to attach this trim. Will go here, and then I have a little bit of a decorative trim that is going to sit on top of it. So all of this will be covered up. See, it's going to cover up most of that. So this will be the base, and I'll wrap it all the way around the base, and that will cover up all of my repairs. I'm just going to use my jigsaw to cut the trim, and then I use a brad nailer to attach it. I'll come back with a nail punch, and I'll punch in the holes, and then I will fill them in with some caulking. I have attached the pieces of trim on the side, and I'm going to do the front. Now there's an overhang, you can see right there, so that's why I chose to do the sides first, and then I will come back and do the front, and that will cover up that side piece, so I don't have to worry about that part showing. It's all going to be covered up by the front trim. So now that I have a stable base, I'm going to go ahead and add legs. I'm measuring in 1 inch on each side, and I make a cross, and then I'm going to go ahead and screw a hole in. Now this is a set I got off Amazon, and this is the second time I used it, and they are really good quality. And the company sends the bit that you need in order to drill the hole, and they actually also send you the bit you need to drill your pilot holes for the screws. So I'll link it below, but it's a really good quality set. I was very impressed with it. So you're just going to drill down, and we're only going to the depth that you need to actually insert the piece. So you just kind of check it. You could put a piece of tape on it if you want to be precise, but I just kept checking it to see how deep I needed to go. And then once you have it flush, then you're going to drill your pilot holes, and then you can screw in your screws, and then literally then all you have to do is screw in your leg and you're done. I decided I want to go ahead and try to save some of the wood. So I knew there was probably mahogany underneath this weird blonde finish. And so I'm using my carbide scraper and I'm going in. You can tell it's a really good arm workout, but it's just easy to use. Sometimes it's just easier than stripper, but go ahead and just get in there and use that scraper, and then it just makes the sanding so much easier. My goal was to get the top strip to wood and then the top 2 drawers. So we're going to see if we can salvage some of this and refinish some of the wood. So now I'm ready to go in with my sander. I usually start with 120 and with my orbital sander, and I just sand the rest of the finish off, and then I'll come and I'll do 150, and then I'll do 180, and then I'll stop at that point. You'll see that I like to hand sand my last grit. I tend to be sometimes a little heavy-handed, so I like to go in and hand sand my last grit. Here I'm going to go ahead and do some repairs. So I have a lot of little areas on the sides that need to have some fill in with the imperfections. Bondo is a great way to fill in some of those really deeper gouges, or if you have some structural repairs that you even need to make. It's a 2-part system. It has the putty and then it has a hardener. So it has very short window of working time. So you want to be ready. So you go ahead and mix it up, and then you put it on as quickly as you can because it'll harden up really fast. So make sure you're not distracted or anything, and make little batches so that if it hardens up, it's okay. I had another corner where I needed a little bit of glue up, so I'm just using Titebond glue, and I will insert that in and then get it taped up, and it'll be good as new. So here's my final sanding. I'm really trying to get all of that finish off. I do like to hand sand, especially the last grit, and for sure the edges, because the edges can sometimes be really delicate and sometimes you can burn through the veneer. So I just like to be really careful. My son is helping me sand. I'm teaching him the fine art of sanding. So you can see I'll come in a few minutes and give him some pointers, but got to get all those little sides, get all those little, all that Bondo has to be sanded flat. Now I'm going to work on the top 2 drawers. I'm using my carbide scraper again. I'm just going to scrape off as much of that finish as I can, and then I'll come in with sandpaper. Okay, so here we are. We are prepped and we are ready for paint. I've got the top raw and I've got all of the body ready. So I'm going to prime with Shellac primer, and then I'm going to come back and paint the body and most of the drawers with a new gray by Sherwin-Williams. I use Sherwin-Williams Emerald line. This is their urethane trim enamel. A top coat is not recommended or required, so it dries really hard. It is an enamel, and so I love using it because it provides a beautiful, beautiful finish, and this is in satin. Now I'm going to work on the top. I'm going to do a spray shellac on the top before I apply the paint wash. Now the reason I do this is because I'm going to seal that surface first, because that way when I put the paint wash on, it won't go on blotchy and it won't absorb it too much. I'm going to do a whitewash. I'm using the New Gray, the paint that I use for the body, and I'm doing it in a ratio of 1 part paint to 4 parts water. I use a zebra fan brush. I think it holds a lot of paint, so I like to use this particular brush when I do my paint washes. But I'm going to go in thirds. I'm going to go the entire length of the dresser, and I'm just going to do about 1/3 of it. And once I have that done, then I'm going to just wipe it back. You have to work pretty quickly when you're doing a paint wash because it will dry pretty fast on you. So you don't want to be distracted. You want to just get in there and wipe it on and wipe it off as quickly as you can. I'm going to work my way to the other side of the dresser. I need to do nice long strokes and make sure that I get any excess paint off. After the whitewash dries, I'm going to come back and do a tan wash. I'm using Algonquin by Fusion Mineral Paint in the same ratio, 1 part paint to 4 parts water. Wipe it on and I wipe it off. I like the tan wash. It provides a really pretty finish, kind of hides any imperfections. And then I will finish it off with 2 coats of a top coat. And this is General Finishes High Performance Top Coat in Dead Flat. So let's look back at the before. This dresser had been through quite a bit. I don't even know what all of that was on it. That's definitely not a beautiful patina. That's just gunk and grime. But I did end up spraying out the hardware too. I forgot to mention that. But let's take the look here. And after all of that work, a little bit of love, little paint, here is the after. A lot better. I have the beautiful paint wash, whitewash, then the tan wash. All of the original hardware, I just cleaned it and resprayed it, lined the drawers, put on the feet. I think we saved it. What do you think? Do you like it? Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching.